A week ago, the Minnesota Vikings were said to have shocked the 49ers. But now we are no longer shocked. They turned over the Houston Texans, and boy, did they dominate. Boys, is Brian Flores the Bogeyman? Because he is making quarterbacks look extremely ordinary. Well, first of all, on this one.
Yeah, no, Brian Flores is known to send like a lot of pressure, almost pressure every snap. And that really puts a lot of QBs under duress. I think that, like I said, CJ Stroud, like 2 interceptions, that's very uncharacteristic of him. 1
Sacked
TD.
4 times in this game?
Sacked 4 times. It shows me that the defense Flores was calling was a lot of looks he hasn't seen before, and it was coming forward with a lot of pressures that he probably didn't anticipate. And I think that culminated in this like one-sided game. Like, shout out to the Vikings, in particular, like Sam Darnold, 4 touchdowns.
He has looked extremely measured. We know he's going to be the starting quarterback this entire season because obviously JJ McCarthy is out. But again, he didn't have Jordan Addison in this game. Second, like another game in a row. Yes, he did have Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson played very well. But the star of the show on the offensive side of the ball was Aaron Jones. 100 yards on the ground, 40-something yards, 5 catches through the air, and a touchdown. So he had himself an extremely good game, but all of the foundation of this entire matchup was the Vikings defense. They completely just nullified anything from any kind of confidence that the Texans had, brought up from the game over the Colts, and it was gone.
Yeah, I think Kevin O'Connell and Flores together as a tandem on the same team, you have really good minds there, both offensively and defensively. And I think that's really the deciding factor here. Like, Kevin O'Connell has done a wonder job with Sam Darnold. I did say, I think during like the preseason and training camp, that the pit stop Sam Darnold had at the 49ers was kind of like the reset button. And I think Kevin O'Connell now is bringing out the best in Sam. Like, if you see him out there, he doesn't look confused. He looks like he's in command of the offense. He knows where the ball's going to go. And in fact, a lot of the times he's dictating where the ball needs to go. And that's really good to see. He's taking what the defense gives him. And he's looking like a man reborn. I think this is what everyone wanted Sam Darnold to be. Now, even though he's kind of keeping the throne warm for JJ, if Sam Darnold balls out this season, and let's say like they only drop 3 games and they make it deep into the postseason, like I mean, don't get me wrong. Remember, I was actually quoted as saying I would take, like, if Sam Darnold and JJ came out in the same year, I'm taking Sam Darnold. So this is one of those things. It's going to be really interesting to see how the rest of the season pans out. But the Vikings now are no longer an R team that you play. Like, if you play them,
good,
you're gonna actually have to show up, because if you fall asleep, take them for granted. If you're one-dimensional, they're gonna roll you. Like 34 points in the NFL, against the Texans defense as well, with the defensive head coach. That's no easy task, so they can definitely play both sides of the ball. So they're a legit team, and one of the few teams that are currently 3-0.
Yeah, and not only that, the Texans in this one, let's have a look at the stat sheet, right? CJ Stroud, 215 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 4 sacks. Davis Mills came in towards the end, got sacked as well. Stephon Diggs, yes, he had a lot of catches in this one, but if you look, they managed to, even though Nico Collins had 86 yards, that was on 10 targets, and he only caught 4 of them. He's the most destructive player that they have in their team, and they kept a lid on him in the large majority. Peter, do you have any thoughts on this?
Absolutely. I think the Vikings right now have the best defense in the NFL. And that goes without saying. Huge shout out to Brian Flores. He has been immense. In terms of the Vikings defense, and I think the defense is what has propelled them to 3-0 start. And the offense has also been very, very complimentary of the defense. I think the Vikings have surprised a lot of teams with how well they've played earlier on this season, with the things that they've been able to do this year. So I'm very, very pleased for them, especially for Brian Flores. I think he's showing that he's deserving of a head coaching opportunity. But it remains to be seen if the politics within the NFL is going to stop and one of these owners is actually going to give him the mantle, because I think he'll be a very good head coach in the near future, because as a DC, he's really earning his keep. He's really showing it. And it's not just this season. Last season with the Vikings, everywhere he's sort of like been part of the defense has performed to high levels and high expectations.
Yep.
My only little gripe with this game is how the Vikings did Aaron Jones. I mean, he rushed for all those shots and didn't even give him a touchdown. I mean, like...
Well, no, he got a touchdown in the air.
Okay, I mean a Russian touchdown. That's what I'm
referring to. Yeah, but the thing is, it's just like...
Because when I look at the game plan, I get it. It's fine, but it's kind of like... I ran to the line and then Sam passes for a touchdown. So...
Well, if you look at the way... So, like, if I look at the drive chart, right? It was 3rd and 6 when they scored a touchdown, so they had to pass. It was 3rd and 2, and they passed short left to Aaron Jones, so that's how he got his touchdown. They were on the 4-yard line, and then they were on the 8-yard line. No, not on the 8-yard line, and they were on the 2-yard line, right? But that was on third down. That was on third down, so they had they were on the 1-yard line. They ran the ball with Aaron Jones, right?
Hey, go beast mode, didn't it?
That's the thing. We've seen teams who have run, but the thing is, we know that the run defense generally from the Texans is quite good, right?
Yeah, it's quite good, but not in this game though. This game, I think the Vikings had their number. So it's one of those. I think the Texans will be fine, but I think Minnesota.
Although, if you look at it from a statistical sample point of view, right? The longest run of the game for Aaron Jones was 39 yards, right? So that was 39 yards all the way down to the 1, right? That he had the next play. So if you look at it, he had 19 carries for 102 yards, but 39 of those 102 came on one play. The rest of the time, they had him largely bottled up. Not massively bottled up, but when you're talking, he wasn't, gashing them completely. He gashed them on one big play, and that's why the numbers sometimes look a little bit different. But
yeah, but if it's averaging 4 or 5 yards a carry, like that type of thing, that happens
because you're going to have big plays and you're going to have some plays where you're not going to get much.
Because really, when you think about run games, right, I think a lot of OCs are not... The big plays are good when they happen, like the 20-yard runs, there were 20-yard runs. But really, what you do with your run game, you're trying to get 5 yards. Because when it's 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3, then... You've got the entire playbook, right? You've got the entire playbook to work with. You can do those passing plays. So it's kind of like when it comes to run game, they're always looking for those 4 to 5 yards, really, instead of and when you flip over to the Texans, the Vikings really limited them because the average yards per carry was under 3 yards. So then they were playing behind the ball, so they had to kind of like pass the ball a bit more than run the ball. In that sense.
And if you look at the flip side of you look at obviously. The top 2 running backs for the Texans were out injured, Joe Mixon not being available and Dameon Pierce not being available. Cam Akers was toting the rock in this one, 9 carries for 21 yards, had 1 catch for a touchdown in the passing game. But generally, if you look at the script of how things were, they were down 21-0, so you're not going to be running the ball much. generally. So obviously, you weren't massively able to evaluate Cam Akers in terms of his running capabilities. We know he's a talented back. He's had injury issues, but obviously Joe Mixon is the number one there in Houston. But it's just, massive props to the Vikings on this one because they look extremely good, and it's going to be an absolute dogfight for the NFC North because there are multiple teams who are good. Actually, there are 3 teams who are good in this division. And then there's the Bears kind of holding up the rear. Even though they're not a bad team, but they're just not a good team. Yeah, if you get me with that. Massive props to the Vikings, and let's see what they do next week.